Hey everyone, this is Spider-Man 101. Excuse me for the hat. But hope everyone's doing alright. Everyone's doing well. So, I now have a sufficient amount of topics to make a video on. Cause we have new videos and we have new news in terms of Venom 2, Spider-Man 3, of course. And I'm going to share with you my layout in terms of how I want the SpiderVerse, aka the Spider-Man Cinematic Universe, to go in my image. So, let's begin by talking about Venom 2. Now, Venom 2 is... Venom 2 has been shooting for a while now. I don't know if they finished yet, but, they've been shooting for a bit. So, we now have some new images for Carnage. And these are, of course, leaked images. So, don't expect them. Like, they can either be real or fake. Like, it ends on either side. So I'm looking at these pictures here. Obviously, it shows a blurred out picture of Carnage. And, it looks, from what I can see, he looks to be about the same size in terms of brawn. He looks to be about the same size as Venom, which I'm not really loving, if I'm being honest with you. Because, Carnage, the thing about Carnage that's so scary is, like, not only is he scary looking, but he's scrawny, which makes him even more intimidating because, obviously Carnage is a sadistic, cannibalistic murderer. And, the symbiote doesn't really help his image. As a matter of fact, it makes him look straight out of a horror movie. So the fact that he's, in this picture at least, looks as big as Venom, like, it just kind of takes away that thing because, it just looks like Venom, but red. So I'm not really feeling that. And then the second image here is Carnage with his hand out. Now it looks... Now I see some bars here, so it looks like there's some synergy between the end credit scene of Venom and this scene where supposedly he has the symbiote and he's forming. Now in this image it looks like regular Carnage's hand, like it's all veiny and sleek and how Carnage is supposed to look, but the other one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much these two match, but definitely liking the picture of the hand more than Carnage himself, because Carnage just looks like Venom but red. But it could turn out good. Who knows? Now, from that, let's go over to Spider-Man 3. Now, Spider-Man 3, again, the rumor mill has been turning again and again and again. From, oh, Spider-Man 3 is going to have 8 villains, and it's going to include Daredevil. That's now a very popular theory, now that Kevin Smith came out and said that. But, I want it to happen. But the thing is, like, Marvel has shown that, they don't have the cojones to do that. So, I'm holding out. I want it to be true, but I'm holding out. It said that Kraven the Hunter is going to be a villain with Spider-Man 3, but still might include the Sinister Six, but Kraven would be adjacent to the Sinister Six. I don't know. And then people said that you get help from why War Machine, really? No. Like, the thing is, for me, I don't want any more Avengers in the Spider-Man franchise. It's like, we get it. Spider-Man's in, like, this Tom Holland Spider-Man is in the MCU. We get it. We don't need any more Avengers to show that. If anything, if I were to say which characters would cross over from the MCU, it would be like the TV characters like the Defenders, the Cloak and Dagger, the Runaways, characters like that, I would want to see in the Spider-Man movies cameoing. Because, you know, those characters, I'd say, like, would be, like, closer to the Homecoming series in terms of feel. So, yeah. That's just my opinion. Honestly, I feel as though, you know, Spider-Man 3 could go in so many different directions. Obviously, you know, nobody, like, we could sit here and speculate all the live long day, but it doesn't change the fact that we know nothing about this movie. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what they reveal, what they offer to us. But the thing that I got super excited about, you know, is that MJ, not only will MJ still be in the movie, but Peter and MJ are running away together. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I gotta say about that. Thank you. But, you know, I was watching Far From Home just yesterday, actually. And, you know, still greatest Spider-Man movie in my opinion. And I noticed something very interesting is that, you know, that scene where Peter was in the Netherlands after he got run over by the train. I feel as though if there was any place where he, MJ, and possibly some others could run away to, it would be the Netherlands. Because, you know, Peter was always saying, like, how nice the people are in the Netherlands, how great place it is in the Netherlands. So I wouldn't be surprised if the place that Peter runs away to is the Netherlands. I'm just saying. So, yeah. That's all I got for you in terms of Spider-Man 3 news. Now, in terms of how I would form the Spider-Verse going forward. Now, this is the one that I'm eager to get to. Because I've been planning this out for a whopping 25 hours. So, let's begin. The first one I put is, of course, Spider-Man 3. Now, of course, I wouldn't put Spider-Man Home Run or whatever it's supposed to be called. Home Run is such a bad name. I just had to say, they better not name it that because that is seriously a terrible name. But Spider-Man 3 would be first. And of course, the events that play out in that movie, in my opinion, would lead into the SpiderVerse 2. Because Into the SpiderVerse 2 would be kind of like Spider-Man Far From Home would have an end credit scene, right? Kind of like how Venom had an end credit scene that led to the first Into the Spider-Verse. But this one would have a tie-in to Into the Spider-Verse in terms of, like, because we all know that there have been rumors that MCU Spider-Man was going to have a cameo in this movie. And, you know, those rumors are still going. Now, I obviously do not know what Phil Lord and Chris Miller are thinking. Although I did meet them once, and it's still the greatest day of my life. Because they are my favorite directors. But, Into the Spider-Verse 2 would be more of like a setup. Or Spider-Man 3's end credit scene was set up to Into the Spider-Verse 2. And of course, you know, that movie's going to be focusing on the relationship between Miles and Gwen, so we'll see how that plays out. My third film would be Venom 3. And of course, Venom 3 would focus on Anti-Venom and the planet of symbiotes. My next one would be Spider-Man 4. Now, I went grand scale on this one, and I made the fourth movie the Sinister Six. Because I feel like the Sinister Six should be built up toward. And, you know, I feel like it'd be too, like, looking back on it now, I feel like it'd be too quick to announce to put the Sinister Six into Spider-Man 3. So I think it should be put on to Spider-Man 4 instead, to kind of give it breathing room. And then the next one, I would have a live-action version of Silk. Now, Silk, to me, has always been a great character. I have the first physical comic that she ever appeared in. And, you know, she had a cool story. But, you know, I would just love to see how it plays out. Because it could be like a definite, like, what-if scenario. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about the actual series What If, because, you know, the Homecoming series will have its two what-ifs. You know, from Homecoming, Far From Home. So, you know, when those come out, I'll be sure to talk about them on this channel for the What If series. But this one I feel like is a what if because it could be not in the MCU, but in the elsewhere universe, where you can have his, like, Cindy Moon got bit by the spider instead of Peter Parker. And then that could be the genesis of her origin story. Now, the next one I chose to have was SpiderWomen, Jessica Drew. Now, this one would be under the helm of Disney and Marvel Studios, like the main Homecoming series. But this one would be adjacent from the Homecoming series still. It would still be like its own thing. Because one thing I love about Jessica Drew and SpiderWoman is that her comics are very unique. And she also has a huge tie with Carol Danvers. So I feel like that dynamic too could be extraordinary. The next one I had is basically like a crossover between Jessica Drew from her own movies. Or movie, should I say. Cindy Moon from the Silk movie. And then you could have Gwen Stacy from Into the SpiderVerse. And then she comes to live action, played by Haley Steinfeld, of course, to form SpiderWomen. And this will be the ensemble film, the first ensemble film, should I mention, where, you know, some of the spiders team up to take down a foe. And then the second and last one I would finally give a movie to 2099. Now, 2099, I feel like is going to be a great character and a very important character to the Spider-Man cinematic universe. Because, you know, in this movie he would still be played by Oscar Isaac, and it would be some synergy tied between Into the Spider-Verse. And then this movie would lead to the ensemble picture and basically like the ultimate climax of the Spider-Man franchise. And it would be this huge crossover film between Peter Parker from the Homecoming series, Jessica Drew, Cindy Moon, Gwen Stacy, Peter Parker from Into the Spider-Verse, Peter Parker from the Raimi movies. And the thing is, what I did with Peter Parker from the Raimi movies is, like in this, like he's a father, and then that would be the introduction of Mayday Parker. Because, thing is, I would have it as though Peter Parker and Mary Jane, aka Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst from the Maguire series, got married together, and then all these years we haven't seen them. They've been a couple, and they've been raising Mayday Parker, who was also born with powers. Then I would probably have Andrew Garfield in there too, but he wouldn't really be Spider-Man as much as he was. For me, I have him run Parker Industries in his universe. And then of course you have Miles Morales and 2099, who is basically the MacGuffin of all that. And you would also have Madam Web to tie in the entire Spider-Verse together. And of course they would defeat the characters from the comics, the villains from the comics, should I say. I forget their name. But yeah, that's basically my general thing for my layout in terms of how I would do it. Now obviously I didn't have any villain movies in here. That's because, you know, it's not really necessary to do a Kraven the Hunter movie or Like a Mysterio origin film would be cool. And that's something I am interested in tackling because, you know, obviously I write my own stories every now and again. I would see if I could do something with that. But yeah, these are very early stage. Obviously, I'm gonna be writing all these in my spare time. But you know, Sony, if you're watching this, like, you know, come contact me. Come contact me. Come on. Like, I can help you guys seriously. But yeah, I think that the Spider-Verse can go in a great direction that will gain even more fanfare than it already has. But they just have to do it right. And they have to play the right cards. So, yeah. Till next time, I'm Spider-Man 101 saying peace. And remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Peace.